Kadosh Boker Or Modim Lesimcha Masechet Sotah Daf Yomi Amud Aleph 13a1. If you remember, we just finished off mentioning yesterday that it was Achot Aharon, because while Miriam was already the Achot Aharon, the sister of Aaron HaKohen, she was already giving Nevuah. What was the Nevuah? Right? The Nevuah was, and that's what we're starting today, for a minute, Atida Imi Sheteled Ben Shemoshia et Israel. My mother in the future will come and will birth to the Savior of Israel. The Kevin Shenolad, right? And once Moshe Rabbeinu was born, Itmaleh kol bayit kula or, the entire house became full of or. Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Yeah? Amad Avia un Shakal Rosha. So the father got up and gave her a kiss on her head. And he told her, look, you have your nevuah was fulfilled. The Kevin Shetilu Layor, but the second that they put them in the Nile River, Amad Avia Tfachal Rosha. The father came and he tapped her on the head. And he said at the beginning, right? Biti, Hechal nevuatech. Where's your nevuah? And that's what it says. She wanted to know what was going to be the end of her nevuah. Then we said, if you remember, that Yosef was zacha ligvor taviv, and therefore, right, Moshe Rabbeinu was zoche to be koveret Yosef. So why was it at the beginning? It says at the beginning that really Be'emet Yosef HaTzadik was the one that came to bury his father, and he went up with all of the Pharaoh. And then it says that it was the entire house of Yosef, the brothers, the house of the father. What's going on? That all the mitzim went with him. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, but at the beginning, when they didn't see the kavod of Israel, lo na'agu b'hen kavod. So then they didn't give the kavod, and therefore it was the mitzim barosh, and then it was the brothers afterwards. But at the end, once they saw the kavod, na'agu b'hen kavod, then they actually gave kavod to them as well, and therefore they went in front of the mitzrim. It says in pasuk, v'yavo goren atad. What does that mean? Goren is a place where they go and they gather. It's like a granary where they gather the tevuah, and they come and they start doing it. Atad is a kotz, right? So he comes and he says, what does it mean? Goren a-kotzim. If goren yeshlo le'atad, he says what? The goren, the granary, has kotzim. Amar Rabbi Avhu, says Rabbi Avhu, melamed shekifu ketarim larono shel Yaakov. They put ketarim around the aron of Yaakov, kegoren zeh shemakifim lo atad, just like a goren that they have around it, kotzim for shmirah. Meaning they put like a guard. They want to put something around it to watch it, to make sure Shabbat b'nei Esav b'nei Ishmael b'nei Keturah. Because Bnei Ishmael, Bnei Esav, Bnei Keturah, they all came and they put the Aron, they put on the Aron all their ktarim. So they put their crowns on the Aron of Yaakov Avinu. Tana says the Braita, Kulam milchama ba, really be'emet, they all came to do milchama. Meaning whether it's going to be Bnei Keturah, Bnei Ishmael, Bnei Esav, they all came to do milchama. Kevan sheraur kitro shel Yosef, but once they saw that Yosef HaTzadik took his crown and he put it on the Aron of Yaakov, yeah, Natzlu Kulan Kitrem. So then they all came and they put it right on the Aron of Yaakov Avinu. Tana, we learned in a Braita, right? 36 Ketarim Natlu Baron Shel Yaakov. There was 36 Ketarim on the Aron of Yaakov. Interesting. Here in the bottom, you have the Shnei Masar Nesiyei Ishmael, the 12 of Yishmael. And then you had from the 14 to 36, which was the 23 of Esav, and it brings it down. It goes down the entire order of all the 36 ketanim on the Aron of Yaakov Avinu. So then they went and they made a very, very heavy eulogy. They made a very big misped. Tana, we learned afilu susim, afilu chamonim. Even the susim and even the chamonim and the donkeys and the horses, right? They took a chelek in the sped. But once they came to Manat HaMachpelah, Esav came Esav Rasha, and he stopped them. Right? This is, remember, Esav was the brother of Yaakov. He stopped them from burying him in Manat HaMachpelah. Says this Chevron, what's going on over here? He says, right, that he has got the portion. So he says, so he comes and he says, 1 second, right? He already took his portion. He went and he buried Leah there. But the other portion should go to me. There were two brothers. He took one portion. I take the other portion. If there's only two burial plots left, he took one for his wife, Leah. I should get the other one of Yaakov. Yeah. Before. So he went and he buried Leah over there. So whatever's left over is mine. Amrule, they told him, what are you talking about? Zavinta, you sold it. You sold it for Adashim, for lentils. Amalu, he says, no. I sold the firstborn. The firstborn is the extra portion. But I didn't sell the regular portion. Amrule, they told him, yes, you did. You sold it as well. Right, but it's Karan Shom Dikbeneni. When it says the Lashon Kira, it means a sale. So Shekem Yam Korim Mechira Kira. So he actually sold that as well. Amar Lehu, he says, how will you get to bring me a document? Yeah, bring me and get it. Bring me a document that I sold it. Amrule, they said he got it, but he says it's in Mitzrayim. Uman is who's going to take it? Who's going to get it? Is a Naphtali, the Kali Gailata. Right? Send Naphtali. Naphtali was very, very quick. Was it says in Pasuk? Naphtali ayela shlucha. Right? So send Naphtali. He goes running. How do you call it in English? In English, gazelle, or what's the word in English? I forgot. Yeah. How do you call it in English?
Naphtali is a hind let loose.
A hind. Okay, a hind. Okay, so Hind.
Yeah.
So he says, so Amar bi'avu, al tikre mishafer ela yimne sefer. Right? So as it says, shafer is with a shin. Right? Shin samalit. You could do with a sin, like a samech. So it becomes sefer instead of shafer. Right? Not sefer. So he comes and he says, which means that he was sent to bring the document. Now, Hushim bered Dan. Hushim was the son of Dan. Right? Tamanavat, he was over there. He was very heavy of hearing, which means he was deaf. He couldn't hear. Amar lehu, he said, my eye. He comes and he sees this commotion. He says, what's this commotion going on? Amrule, they told him, they're waiting for Naphtali to come to Mitzrayim. Amar lehu, he said to them, until Naphtali comes from Mitzrayim, his grandfather is going to be in a disgrace and a bizayon. Shakal kulfa, he took his makel, his baston, his stick, his staff, machia reshe. He hit him in the head to Esav Rasha, and what happened was is that the eyes of Esav came out and they fell by the feet of Yaakov Avinu. Patchinu Yaakov le'eneh ve'achech. So Yaakov Avinu opened up his eyes and he smiled.
Wow.
Yeah, he smiled. So this is not exactly like the Midrash about the entire head. Yeah, this is only the eyes. And when the eyes came out and it was by Yaakov opened up his eyes and he smiled. So he says, right? And that's what it means. Yismach tzadiki chaza nakam pe'ama v'ilchatz bedam rasha. He says that tzaddik will be happy because he's going to see that there's going to be like the vengeance by his legs, yilchatz bedam rasha, with the blood of the rasha. And that was a nevuah of Rivka that she said, why am I going to lose both children on the same day? Right? Because remember, and that means that they both died in the same day. It doesn't mean they both died in the same day. They were both buried in the same day. Not died, but they didn't die in the same day. Remember, Yaakov Avinu, until Bichal, they took him out of Egypt, already passed Yemei HaChanutim and the Yemei HaSpedim and then the traveling. No, it wasn't the same day. It was the same day that they were buried, not the same day they died. So he says, that means even though it was not the same day of the death, it was the same day of the kevura. Okay? Now, by the way, there was a beautiful Rechaim Shmulevitz, and he says, why was it Davka Hushim ben Dan that did this? Why is it? Hushim ben Dan was the only one that had the sechel in his head to say such a thing. But rather, Rechaim Shmulevitz says an incredible yesod, and he says that people, they get used to something. Meaning, everybody else that was there, since they could hear, so they started going into a tango. You come and you say, it's my portion, your portion. They come, they say, no, we're going to start bringing proofs. We're going to start doing this. And then they become immune. They become as if to say that they don't have the feeling anymore, right, of what's going on. Hushim ben Dan, that he wasn't part of the du-siach. He wasn't part of the entire thing. For him, he comes and he says, I don't understand. My grandfather's in a bizayon. What's going on over here? He says, well, what? That's what we're waiting for? Boom. He went for the kill. It didn't exist. That had to be something that doesn't start. If you don't start, so then you have it. So says the Gemara, he says, 1 second. if Yosef HaTzadik wouldn't have taken care of the kvura of his father, the brothers wouldn't have done it? So what does that mean that Kilu Yosef was Zochet to Likvor David? It was everybody. They all carried him to Canaan. They said, let him do it. There's much more kavod for a melech to take care of Yaakov Avinu than a simple person to take care of Yaakov Avinu. That's what we mentioned before. The second that all the other nations saw that the crown of Yosef HaTzadik was there, it was completely different. Fine. Milanu Godol mi Yosef. Who was greater than Yosef? Look how precious are the mitzvot to Moshe Rabbeinu. Shekol Yisrael kol nitazku bebiza. All Bnei Yisrael, they're taking care of the bizat mitzrayim, which means they're taking care of money, looking for the klei chesed, klei zahav, usmalot, and begadim, and everything. But Moshe Rabbeinu comes and he's taking care of the mitzvot. Shenemar chacham lev yikach mitzvot. Somebody that's a chacham lev, he's always going to be taking mitzvot. How did Moshe Rabbeinu know where Yosef HaTzadik was buried? They said, do you know that Tzerech Bat Asher, she was the only one that stayed from that generation when they came down to Mitzrayim? Yeah, and it says that she was actually even alive when they left during the times of Yoshua, and even afterwards during the time of David HaMelech even. Right? Meaning that she was mamash.
Very, very old.
Yeah, very old. So Tzerech Bat Asher. So he says, Alach Moshe Tzla v'amallah. So Moshe Rabbeinu came to her and he said, do you know where Yosef is buried? Amralo, she said, Aron shel Masechet asulo Mitzrim. The Mitzrim came and they made him an Aron of Masechet, of heavy metal. Ukva'u b'nuzah, and they threw it into the sea. Now, why did they do that? Kadesh yitbaruchu mimav. In order that the water should have a beracha. Yeah, that they should have a lot of beracha. But I heard another answer actually, but this is the answer that's brought down here. That it was basically because of, meaning they wanted beracha. Because they knew that the beracha came because of Yosef, so they threw him inside. I heard another reason, I think it's brought down in the Midrash, that they knew that if they were going to take out Yosef, they would live Mitzrayim. So they purposely made it of heavy metal, and they threw it inside of there in order, I think it's a Midrash Rabbah, if I remember correctly. Okay, fine. So what happens? Halach Moshe Amad al Sfat Nilus. So Moshe Rabbeinu came to the side of the Nile River. Amar lo, and he said, Yosef, Yosef. It's already the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that I'm going to redeem you. You made a Shavuot to Bnei Yisrael. That what? That we have to take you out. If you show where you are, so then it's going to be good. If not, we're going to be clean from your Shavuot. So immediately the Aron of Yosef started rising up and started floating on the waters of the Nile River. So now what, you're going to start being astonished. How does barzil, metal, iron, it's going to be tzaf, it's going to be floating. It's written, what does that mean? One of the Talmidim of Elisha, right, he hit with the axe, the wood, to bring it down. And it went to Mei Yarden. So he screamed and he said, Aha, Adoni vehu Shaul. He comes and he says, what? It's borrowed. I have to take it back. Imagine, that axe did not belong to me. It was borrowed. I have to give it back. What happened? Where did it fall? He showed it to him. So he cut a piece of wood and he put it there, and it started floating. This is Elisha Navi. So if Elisha was a Talmid of Eliyahu Navi, Eliyahu was a Talmid of Moshe, how was Eliyahu Navi Talmid Moshe? How was Eliyahu Navi a Talmid of Moshe Rabbeinu?
Was Pinchas.
Chazak Baruch. Pinchas, Eliyahu. So therefore he was a Talmid of Moshe Rabbeinu. Tzaf barzel mipanav, mipenei Moshe Rabbeinu, because of Moshe Rabbeinu, that he was a rabbi of the rabbi of Elisha Navi. Halacha kameh v'chama. So then even more. Rabbi Natan says, that really be'emet, he was kavur in I don't know, with a lot of different places, imagine, they had a lot of mummies, they had a lot of places over there. Halach Moshe v'amar kabinat shemelachim aman. So Moshe Rabbeinu went to this place and he said, Yosef, it's the time that I'm going to come and redeem you. And it's the time that we will fulfill your Shavuah. You're going to show you something good. Even if not, we're going to be clean from your Shavuah, and anyone can Shavuotech. So then the Aron of Yosef HaTzadik started moving. So he took it. And all the times that Yisrael were in the Midbar, one of them of Yosef HaTzadik, the Met, and one of them was Shekhinah. They were going together. So people used to say, what are these two coffins? Amru, they said one of them is the Met, and one of them is Shekhinah. So they said, so what? It's normal. Imagine you've got two Aronot. One is the Aron of the Kodesh, right, with the Luchot, and one of them you have of a deceased. What's going on? Amru, they said, you give him ubet. 13b. He, this one, fulfilled everything which was written in the second one. Moshe Rabbeinu was not mitasek in Yosef. He says what? Bnei Yisrael wouldn't have been mitasek bo. Yet Atzmot Yosef asher lu bnei Yisrael nitzayim kavru b'Shechem. He says what? Atzmot Yosef they went and Bnei Yisrael came and they buried it in Shechem. The two and furthermore, right? It wasn't Bnei Yisrael, but wouldn't have been his children, the children of Yosef. Amru, they said anichulo. Says no, it's much it's much better in a lot of them that they're going to bury him than the few of them. And furthermore, Amru, they said, it's better that it should be Moshe Rabbeinu than the smaller ones. Why did they bury him in Shechem? Even until today, where's the Aron of Yosef? Where's the Kavi Yosef? B'Shechem. Why B'Shechem? They stole him in Shechem. And therefore, since they came and they stole him in Shechem, so therefore we're going to bring him back to Shechem. We're going to bring him back to the bones. We're going to bring. So says the Gemara 1 second. It's a stira in the psukim itself. It's a contradiction. So what's going on? Is it that Moshe Rabbeinu came and he took that Tzmot Yosef, or is it written that Tzmot Yosef shalu b'nei Yisrael? Is it halu b'nei Yisrael, or is it Moshe? It says like this: if you start a mitzvah but you didn't finish it, so it's nikra al shem gomro. It's called on the one that finished it off. Moshe Rabbeinu only started off the job, but he passed away. He couldn't finish it. So therefore, it's Nikra and Shem Sofon, the ones that actually finished it. Who was the one that finished it? Bnei Yisrael finished it, because Moshe Rabbeinu didn't go into Eretz Yisrael. So he couldn't finish off the job. So therefore, even though it was Moshe Rabbeinu that started and he did it until the end of his life, but the ones that finished it was Shem Gomro, was Bnei Yisrael. Rabbi Elazar says, Af Moridinu Tom Igdulato. Not only is it called the Shem Sofon, if a person starts doing a mitzvah, but he doesn't finish it off, they take him down from his gdula. So as it says in the pasuk, why? Because Yehuda started the salvation of Yosef. He went and he told the brothers, why are you going to write? Why are you going to come and you're going to kill your brothers? Right? Mabetza. What are you going to gain? But rather what? But he only started the saving of his brother, but he didn't finish it off. So because he only started there, so he went down from his brothers. So he was Yerad Migdulato. He also buries his wife and children. The wife of Yehuda passed away. And then it's written, so look what happens to a person. Right? Amar of Yehuda, Amar says Yehuda, why is it that he told Bnei Yisrael, you have to bring up my bones? He's alive. What's he talking about his bones now? You know why? Because the fact that he wasn't moche in the kavod of his father, that they told him, your servant, and he's talking about his father, and he wasn't moche. So the fact that he wasn't moche, that's why he's already called bones, right? Because atzamot are kasher, they're hard, and it's not going to be mashpia. So to hear he wasn't mushpa, the fact he just said he wasn't ohed kavod, so that's why he was called bones. Why is it that Yosef Tzaddik died before his brothers? Yosef died at the age of 110. And remember, he was basically the youngest one, other than Binyamin, obviously, but he was the youngest of the brothers. Why is it that he died the earliest? He was 110. First answer, because he was manhig atzmo b'rabbanut. We gave the other answer, if you remember. I think it was a Balatunim and others as well. It was because of that he heard of the Chaviv, right? He heard it 5 times. But he lost 10 years of his life. So he said because it was a Meturgeman. Remember, there was a translator. So the translator, Menashe, said another 5 times. So 5 and 5 is 10. He lost 10 years of his life because he heard of Decha Aviv, right? Your servant, right? Avdecha, our father, and really he's not his servant. Yosef Urab Mitzrayma. Yosef was taken down to Egypt. Amar b'Elazar Sabi Elazar Tikreh Hurad Ela Horid Shorid Itzagner Paro Migdulatan. So he said what happened was that he brought them down. What does that mean? Once he came and he interpreted the dreams properly, he took them down, because once he knew much more than them, they went down in their stature. Before they were the Hachamim, Now they were nobodies. Yosef was everything. Right? So Potiphar sees Paro came and he acquired him. He really bought him for himself. Why? From Mishkav Zachor, for homosexuality.
Yeah.
Right? He wanted it himself. That's what Potiphar was. Potiphar was jealous of his wife. He said, what's his wife taking his guy? And what is this? It's for himself. So he says, Ba Gabriel ufereo. Came Gabriel and he made him into a saris. He made him into sterile, but basically that it was cut him off basically, so that way he wasn't able to do anything. Ikara keti Potiphar, because at the beginning it was called Potiphar, and the end is called Potifera. That it became Parua, which means it became even more saris, right? Because remember, anyway, he didn't have children, right? Right? He never had children, so he was already sterile. But he became even more sterile that he wasn't able to do anything. He wasn't able to do an avera with Moshe Rabbeinu, with Yosef Tzaddik. Sorry, Milan Moshe. We said in the 2 dots, who's greater than Moshe Rabbeinu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says, Vayomer Hashem elai Rav Lach. Hashem comes and he says, Rav Lach, it's already too much. Don't speak to me more. Right? You're not going to pass by the Yarden. Right? Levi, Amar Rabbi Levi says, Rabbi Levi, Berav biser, Berav bisruhu. Do you know that he came and he said, Rav. Berav biser, when he says, Rav Lachem ben Levi, he says, you already have too much. Berav bisruhu. Midah kereng midah. He told him, Rav Lach, you already had too much. You're not going to Israel. Which means, midah kereng midah. He went and he told by Korach and by everything, you guys already have enough. Don't ask for more. So do the same thing. Another explanation. Rav Lach, Rav Yeshlecha. What does it mean, Rav Yeshlecha? Right? You've got a Rav. Who is that? Yoshua. Meaning you got a rabbi. You got somebody that's going to take over for you. Don't worry. Hand over the torch. Who's that? Yoshua bin Nun. Another explanation. Rav Lach. Shelo yomru harav kama kasher v'talmid kama savan. That they shouldn't say that, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so difficult, right, that he doesn't want to listen to the student, and the student, right, he's coming and being such a, obnoxious. He's coming and asking us, and he doesn't want. Why? Because according to the Gamal is a Masa, which means that the more that you're going to come and you're going to carry it, right? So too, according to the Tzidkuto Shel Adam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is medakdek im ma'asav. Right, because that means according to the tzidkut, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is much more meticulous. Okay, Vayomer Alehem b'120 shana Anochi Hayom says I'm 120 years today. What does it say Hayom? Hayom Malush today. I fulfilled 120 years old, but it was his birthday as well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mishalem mashlim mishnotehem shel tzadikim yom liyom u'mechodesh lechodesh dichtiv et mispar yamecha amaleh. Right, he's going to come and he's going to fulfill right mispar yamecha. Yeah. Something like that. He wasn't able to come and to go in and out. If he managed to go out, he wasn't even weak. Moshe Rabbeinu. The time we learned, there were 12 different steps. He jumped all 12 of them. Right? What does it mean he couldn't go out? He wasn't able to learn Torah anymore. But once the time came that he had to pass away, he forgot learning. There it was 2 different chaverim of Moshe and Yoshua together. It was taken from one and given to the other one. Tanya, we learned in a right. Rabbi Yehuda says of Yehuda. If it wasn't said in the pasuk of Shalom, you couldn't have said it. Hechal Moshe met. Where is Moshe buried? The chelek of Reuven. Dichtiv. Vayan Moshe me'avon Moav el Nevo. Nevo bechelkat shel Reuven kaima. So Nevo was in Reuven. Dichtiv. Ubnei Reuven banu. Right? Nevo. So he says Vehechal Moshe kavur. Where's Moshe? Bechelko shel Gad. Dichtiv. Vayar reshit lo. Bechelko shel Reuven. Bechelko shel Gad. Kama. What is the distance? 4 milim. 4 mil. Who took him 4 mil, right? Because basically he had to go from one place, from Har Nevo, to his actual burial spot. So where was that? He was actually placed in the Kafeh Shechinah. So he comes and he says, Shmuel Amar, Mikach Chacham Yodeh Peshet Davar. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Rabbi Yochanan says, V'achokma me'ayin timatzeh. By the way, that's our minhag until today. We say for Talmidei Chachamim, V'achokma me'ayin timatzeh ze makom midah. That's the ashkava that we say for them. Rabbi Nachman Amar, V'yemot Sham Moshe Samechmem. That is the name of Semanyon. This is actually the name of a Chacham. He says, V'yamot Sham Moshe Safra Rabad Yisrael. The Sofer HaChacham HaGadol Shel Yisrael. Tanya, we learned in a Braita. Eliezer Gadol, Eliezer Gadol, 12 mil, it was 12 mil, Keneged 12 mil, right, which was Keneged Machane Yisrael. Bat Kol Mashmiya V'omer Mimot Moshe Safra Rabbi Yisrael. There was a heavenly voice coming out and saying that Moshe Safra Rabbi Yisrael, the Chacham of Yisrael, passed away. Yeshomnim and says, Lo met Moshe. Right, some people say that he didn't die. Tiva Chavayamut Sham Mitzvah that he died, or Tiva Tam Mitzvah Yisham Hashem, he was with Hashem. Mal Halanom Mishamesh, just like over there it's talking about that he was actually Mishamesh in front of Hashem. So to here was Omedo Mishamesh in Hashem. Like Boroto Bagai Ben Etzmoav Mud Bepeor. So he was buried Bagai in the land of Moab, opposite Bet Peor. It's a Siman betoch Siman. It's Siman within a Siman. Afilu Achin. Still, even though we give you so many Simanim to get the exact location, nobody knows where he's buried. Even Romans, they sent by Gastarat Shel Bet Peor. Where is he buried? Amdulimala, when they were on the top, they thought it was on the bottom. If they were on the bottom, they appeared that he was on the top. He thought they were in the middle, they split up. The ones which are on the top, thought on the bottom. The ones at the bottom, thought on the top. Nobody knew where Moshe Rabbeinu was going to be buried.